Hello Warfighters, War is Hell. Welcome to a brand new episode of Top 5 Arma Mods. Now, this is going to be breaking the norm here a little bit, as this is going to be the new Top 5 Arma 4 wish list. And I know this isn't talking about Arma 3 mods, we're talking about the next iteration of Arma, and this is actually kind of an opportunity to revisit one of the top viewed videos on my channel, which is the ultimate top 10 Arma 4 wish list. So with that being said, you know, I just thought it would be kind of cool to use this top 5 framework to be able to look at how things have changed over the last few years and kind of where I am at now with Bohemia Interactive and the next iteration of Arma. I'll just let you guys know right now, I don't know anything about the next iteration of Arma. I don't even know if it's going to be called Arma 4, when it's going to be coming out or anything like that. But there's a lot of signs that point to Bohemia Interactive working on something like that. And so if that's the case, I just feel like that it would be important to just share my voice on some of the things that I would like for them to work on and what they could do to improve the franchise moving forward. I know Nillers, my corn-fed brother, doesn't like it when people are talking about Arma 4, so my bad. But still, I thought this would be kind of cool just to talk about. I will let you guys know that as I was creating this, I didn't want to do something like another video that I had done, which was the top 5 mods I would want to see implemented in Arma 4. That's another video I'm going to go back and revisit later on down the line. But this one is just going to be focusing on different things that I would like Bohemia Interactive to create or focus on for the game. I also wanted to make sure that I was very specific with the things that I said and not do things like say, oh, I want better performance or better visuals or better sounds, you know, just something that's really, really broad, that's not too specific. So I'm hoping that as I go through this, I can give some specific examples on things that I feel like Bohemia Interactive could either implement or improve on. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the new top 5 Arma 4 wish list, starting with number 5. Coming in at number 5, we have a new Arma units page. I think this is going to be really important for Arma 4 to be able to help people find communities right out of the gate. If you think about it, and I get asked this actually quite a bit in my Discord right now, hey Snack, how do I find a milsim unit? You know, you've got Reddit, find a unit, you have Steam posts where people will not only say, hey, I'm looking for a unit, but you've also got units that will post there. You've got the Arma 3 Discord, you've got Arma clans. I mean, it's just so spread out right now that it is really difficult to try and find the right group for you. And when Arma units was officially announced, I was like, hey, this is going to be cool, because not only is this a great way for units or other Arma 3 communities to have their patch automatically implemented into the game, but it's a great place to have one centralized location for people to go to try and find Arma 3 communities. Again, whether it's Arma 3 milsim or something like that. But as time has gone on, I feel like that the Arma units page has really become less of a valuable tool, because there are so many units that are on there that have disbanded. But it still continues to grow. Those don't get taken off. So I feel like that if I were to go there, I wouldn't necessarily have much confidence that the units that I'm searching for and finding are necessarily going to match what I want. And I feel like that there's some additional things that people could search to try and find the right unit and stuff like that. But the biggest thing, I think, with the new Arma units page is there has to be something in place that allows for inactive units to be taken off of that. You want this to be a valuable tool for people to go to and feel like that they are finding the right active groups for them. So something that could be implemented is people have to re-authenticate every few months just to say, yes, my unit is still active, or there might be some other way to go about doing it. But I feel like that just have one central location for people to go to find these types of communities and to have some of the same features that are in there right now is going to be very critical to the early days of Arma 4 to get these communities built that will allow people to have shared experiences as they continue to play the game. Coming in at number 4, I've got building interiors. There's a couple things with building interiors that I really want to stress with what I would want to see in Arma 4. The first of which is having every building that I would see in game enterable in one way or another. In Arma 3 and earlier versions of the franchise, you have a number of buildings that you just cannot go into at all. While I appreciate and also like the idea of having some doors locked by default, there should still be a way to get into some of these buildings, even if it's something like laying down a demo block or a breaching charge on these doors to be able to get into it. I think that's something that would be really awesome to see. Not only that, for rooms that are enterable, you can go inside and take a look around. there just is not any furniture or appliance or anything to these buildings that make it seem like that they're lived in. And this was something that was really immersion breaking for me very early on in the game, knowing that I could go to a large city like Kavala and never have to worry about anything in those structures at all. And I think as somebody who has gone through and done a number of missions in Arma 3 that included urban operations and clearing buildings, I feel like I've gotten lazy when it comes to clearing buildings, because I know as soon as I open the door, what I see is what I get. I don't have to look behind any of the furniture, like see if somebody's laying down behind the couch or anything like that. I think that would be a really important add for Arma. I get that this is something that was probably done not having enterable buildings and not putting furniture in the buildings for the sake of performance, but it seems like that the new engine is going to be able to support a lot of those things more. So not only would having those particular objects put into buildings be important, but I think having a way to randomize what is going to be in the various buildings would be important. Different art on the walls, different rugs, different types of couches and appliances. Those types of things I think would really give a very unique touch, because you could get to the point, and I know that this has been done in some other buildings where, you know, if you see a certain log house, you know, okay, there's going to be a table with 2 chairs right here. You know, just having something that is in place, script or otherwise, that's like, okay, once I go into this house and I open this door, I genuinely do not know what is going to be behind it. I'm sure there's going to be some repetition and things like that, but if there is a way to be able to make it so that way one yellow house does not look exactly the same as another yellow house on the inside, that would be a great add to the game and create a more immersive experience. For number 3, I have improved AI pathing. At the beginning of this video, I said I didn't want to talk on anything that was too broad, and I feel like that this is somewhat of a broad topic, but I'm not just saying, hey, make AI move better. I do have some examples on where I think BI can improve the way that AI path through a map, and I don't discredit the fact that there have been some improvements in AI pathing since Arma 3 has come out. And I'm also not saying things like, oh, hey, there's that AI, can't use that truck and turn the corner without hitting a fence. I mean, that type of stuff is going to be in the game no matter what. As much as I would like to see that fixed, I think that stuff is reasonable. But some of the things that I'm talking about are like the use of bridges. I was absolutely surprised very early on in my experience with Arma that AI could not move across the bridge effectively. And I'm not just talking about infantry, I'm talking about even vehicles too. And so I've really been dreaming of having this mission where I've got AI with me and I'm going up against AI on a bridge with all these destroyed vehicles, just moving from one vehicle to the next vehicle. I can't do that. At the same time, I can't have a position on a bridge that I have to hold as AI are coming across the bridge, since they're all going to stay on one side, sometimes even falling off the bridge altogether. I feel like that this is something that would be important, not just for those small type of missions, but just for a larger experience as well. Having reinforcements that are going to come from another part of the map that need to cross a bridge is not something that's possible in Arma right now. At the same time, I just think it would be really cool for, you know, the ability to destroy bridges and making them a critical part of the infrastructure in the game to, again, make it more realistic. So just having AI that can utilize it, I think will be more important and create some new opportunities for some players and missions. At the same time, knowing that infantry cannot support armor in the way that I would expect has also been somewhat frustrating. Yes, you can group AI together with infantry and a vehicle, but a lot of times that vehicle is going to run over the infantry, and that can be problematic because as I'm going through and playing missions, there's been a very few cases where I have had armor that's been genuinely supported by AI. A lot of times that armor is off by itself, it's easy to take out, no problem. So I think even the way that AI move together could be improved. And the biggest one for me is how AI interact in combat and how they move about the map. As soon as they hear a round go off near them, they go into combat mode. And in combat mode, the AI are bounding from one position to the next, going from cover to cover. As somebody who has Zeus missions and made missions, I just know that it would be nice if AI could move from one position to the next in a far more strategic way. For example, yes, they might hear a round, but they might want to run to cover rather than slowly bounding for cover and getting caught out in the open. Going behind a wall into a building or something like that, I think would be important. And so knowing that AI pathing can be important to a mission overall makes me put it at number 3 as something I hope to see improved for Arma 4. Coming in at number 2, I've got an easy to use terrain creator. And I feel like that to talk about this, I need to give a little background on 2 big successes in Arma 3, or at least things that I thought were a big success, and how they could teach us and provide some examples on why a terrain creator would be a big success for Arma 4 as well. So the 2 biggest successes I think of when I think of Arma 3 is the implementation of Zeus and the 3D Eden editor. The reason why I think that those were so important is because it allowed the players to take their ideas and imagination and see them realized in the game in a way that they had never been able to do it before, and also have the opportunity to share their ideas and imagination with other people too. I think that's something that anybody in Arma just absolutely loves. And so with stories being a big part of a good Arma 3 experience, being able to define where your story takes place by having a terrain creator, I think would be important. If you think about how many missions are really defined by the terrain that you're in, this could enhance so many different opportunities for people. And I know that there's a demand for something like this out there. I mean, just recently in my Discord, I was having a conversation with some people who have some really great ideas of terrains that they would want to make in different environments, different parts of the world where they would want to do battle, but they just cannot do it because either one, they don't have the technical experience to go through and make a map, or they don't have the time to necessarily be able to sit down and create the environment that they would want to. So a terrain creator like that, I think, would be something that people would just jump on and love being able to create these types of environments and share them with others too. I know I would benefit from something like that because in my alternate history series, I've had a few problems being able to find maps that fit the area of the world that I'm wanting to tell a story about. My first one that I ever did was the Falkland Islands, and at that time there wasn't an easy way to remove trees from a map, which was really important because the Falkland Islands doesn't have trees. And so I had to think to myself, okay, do I just not want to tell this story, or do I want to tell it but just know I'm going to get some crap in the comment section saying, hey man, there's no trees in the Falklands? I mean, I decided to go with the latter, and I'm glad that I did because it was a fun, series to do. But I know it can be immersion breaking for people who are watching it or playing a particular map. I think this would also be good even for BI to reflect on some of the things that people might want in terrain to create a better experience. For example, I'm the kind of person who I would love to see when artillery hits the ground that it actually makes a crater that I could go try and take cover in, fight from that position if I have to. But I know that there's limitations with being able to do events that change terrain in the engine right now. But think about it. This could place more emphasis on subterranean features like tunnels and cave systems that we don't necessarily have right now. The implementation of things like waterfalls, or just how to easily place things like waters and lakes at different elevations too. This would also open up, I think, a great opportunity to allow people to import additional objects into the game that could be used, again, for some great storytelling. With an easy terrain creator, I also think about allowing people to import buildings, roads, additional types of trees, or foliage of some kind. Rather than maybe going into a wheat field, maybe I can import corn and can now go into a cornfield. It's something like that. I just think that the where portion of these stories is something that could really be improved upon as far as giving people the tools to realize their ideas, and that is why I have a terrain creator at number 2. All right, before I get to number 1, there's a couple of disclaimers that I love to give in all of these videos. The first of which is that I know that everything that I have mentioned in this episode is completely my own opinion. You are going to have a very different opinion, and not only is that great, but it is completely healthy. So please, whatever you are feeling should be added to this list, go ahead and put it in the comment section. I love hearing what you guys think. And I also love that there have been just these long discussions that have been built on your guys' ideas in the comment section. So please, please, please do that. The other thing is, if anybody from BI is watching, I really hope that you guys understand that a video like this is done completely out of love for what you guys have done. I feel like feedback is a gift, and if I can give you a little bit of feedback on the experience that I've had and ways that you guys can improve, I am happy to do that as long as you guys are willing to listen. So I'm not bashing anything that you guys have done, quite the opposite. I really want to do everything I can to help you guys even create something better in the future beyond this great product that you have already created in the Arma franchise thus far. Okay? So that being said, let's go ahead and get to number one, which is a modern timeline. Don't get me wrong, I love the 2035 timeline, the story, the lore, the assets, just everything about it. But even with that, I still feel like that Arma 4 is best served being in the modern day. And this is partly because of the demand that I see for modern day assets in the Arma 3 community already. You take a look at Steam and you look at some of the most popular mods, you're going to find these mods that bring in modern day assets being close to the top of the list. You've got Cup, RHS, 3CB, to name just a few. Just about every single Arma 3 community or milsim unit that I've been a part of or have talked to have utilized at least one of these mods. I think the only exception has been communities or units that focus on a particular historical timeline like World War II or Vietnam. I mean, obviously they're not going to be utilizing a lot of these, but seeing that this is in heavy demand by people who play Arma, I think is key. It makes sense. People are familiar with a lot of these assets. They see this in movies, on TV, in the news, or they themselves are or have used them in previous military experience. People are going to be drawn to this type of stuff. And not only do I think it's important to realize the familiarization of these assets for people that are playing Arma, but more importantly, for people who are not familiar with Arma. As people are sharing screenshots and videos of the game, as they see modern day assets, they're going to be more likely to understand what is going on, what these types of assets do, and who they belong to. They're able to piece more of the story together just by themselves. So from a marketing standpoint, I even feel like that modern day is going to be better. Not only are people utilizing and more familiar with these modern day assets, but I'm seeing at an increasing rate these types of mods being used as building blocks for other mods on the Steam Workshop, as things like, again, RHS, Cup, 3CB are being listed as dependencies for other mods and missions that are out there. So if Arma 4 was going to be in the modern day and BI were to develop modern day assets that were stable, well crafted, and great building blocks for other people to use, and accessible, I guess would be another thing to put as well, as people start making mods for the next iteration of Arma, I think that's going to really serve the community well. There's a lot of great stories as well for the modern day that I think that could be told that would also make it a great time for Arma 4. One of my favorite stories that could be told in Arma 4 in a modern timeline takes place on the African continent in a fictional African country. Not only do I think this would make a phenomenal map, I mean, Africa is a beautiful place, but I'm also trying to think if BI has ever made a map for Africa. And I can't think of one. I'm not saying that there is one. I just can't think of one necessarily right now. But I know that even from a mod perspective, the African continent was very limited. So a great place and a new place for BI to explore. It also ties in very well with the current geopolitical landscape. I won't bore you with everything, but I know that for the West, there's an increased reliance on resources coming from Africa, particularly rare earth metals, and that could be an important conflict that comes up in the future. I know the U.S. is, as I said, focusing on it a lot more. I was about ready to get on my soapbox and tell you more about it, but I'm sure you do not care. And it could tie in very, very well with what has already been established in Arma lore with the 2035 timeline. You know, there's a great reason for CSAT to come up because of issues with economic security in what's taking place in Africa and other places of the world. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff there. So that is why I have number one listed as a modern day timeline. I genuinely hope you guys enjoyed this video. There is going to be more, obviously, I'm going to do later on from a top 5 Arma standpoint. I'm going to try and get back to top 5 Arma mods in the next episode, so make sure you guys come back for that. I'm sure you guys have seen the pop-ups to subscribe and everything like that, so please do that if you haven't done that already. Obviously, big thanks to everybody at Patreon for supporting me, helping this channel grow, and making it possible. You guys are awesome. You really are. And if you're looking to support me, take a look in the description below. Again, also looking forward to your comments on things that you would like to see in the next iteration of Arma, so don't forget to put that down below and respond to other people's comments too. I think it'd be great to see a good conversation on this video as well. Again, thanks for watching. War is hell. You don't have to worry because warfighters, I've got your 6.